Bitcoin Amsterdam. We're here again, Steph and I, and together with our friends from IBEX, because Jose Lemus, we talked with you, well, I think a year ago.
Yeah.
You were on our episode from a sky-high tall building. It was a great interview. And Ry, you're a BD at IBEX. You're also here to join us, so great. Let's dive in to IBEX, where it's standing now. And you also made an announcement. We're going to ask, well, let's start with that first, right?
Yeah.
Because you announced something on stage today, and it's called BAZ. And I don't know what it is, but you're going to tell us. What is it?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is the retail app for Grupo Salinas.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know who Grupo Salinas is, it's a huge conglomerate in Mexico. They have, you know, telco companies and a TV company, and they have a bank and own soccer teams and the biggest big box retail, electronics retail in Mexico.
Yeah.
So they're a pretty huge deal down there, and they're looking into Bitcoin and Lightning, and they integrated our back end just recently. We went live, I believe, a couple of weeks ago, and it was in soft launch mode.
Yep.
You know, you don't
Yep.
want to have everybody rushing in day one.
Test it with a smaller amount of...
Well,
Yes.
with 1 million of subscribers to our YouTube channel, you bet.
Well,
prepare, man.
A million Mexicans. No, but that's the thing. It's really cool because now 11 million Mexicans already have this app and are using it. And now they have Bitcoin and Lightning functionality. And that means not only can they buy and sell Bitcoin, but they can also receive and send Bitcoin. That opens them up to the global marketplace, basically.
Perfect.
Awesome. And Ry, did you also have a part in it?
No,
And what did
I
you
have
do?
to give all the credit to the LATAM team for that one. My focus is primarily U.S. and Africa.
Okay.
So, but
Yeah.
it's you know, without the team in LATAM though setting this groundwork, you know, it makes a lot of my job easier having the ground that they set.
Yeah.
So
And you're
very
talking
proud of
about
the team.
Africa?
Yeah, so-
what do you do there?
I think in IBEX our primary focus right now is the global south, and obviously we have a very strong LATAM team, and for the last year or so I've been heavily focused on studying the African market, and it's a very complicated market, very fragmented.
Yeah.
You know, it's not the same GDP. You know, all of the GDP of sub-Saharan Africa is the same as Mexico, so it's one of those things where have much focus can you put on? It's like focusing on the Caribbean. You have all these little micronations that have 500,000 people in them, and
much more difficult.
they all have different regulations. So it is a more complex, fragmented market, but I think it's a very promising market.
And to elaborate more on that, because over the last few years there's been a transformation in the customer profile for IBEX. Can you delve deeper into how the evolution has happened, and have larger enterprises, for instance, shown increasing interest in Lightning, you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as I mentioned on stage earlier, we see Lightning as this hyper-efficient settlement network. And it's really cool because when you stop worrying about, you know, is it Bitcoin, is it not Bitcoin, and all that philosophical stuff, which honestly, me as a Bitcoiner, I get it, I like it, it's what I'm here for. But what's really cool is you can go from any currency to any other currency globally, instantly, at any scale. And that's really powerful. And so for everybody that doesn't want to worry about, you know, Bitcoin's volatility and its philosophy or whatever, you don't have to worry about that. You can just leverage this uniqueness of it being a global settlement network, and really the first ever truly global settlement network. And I'm going to do a little bit of a plug for Ry here because he's being coy about this, but he's actually going to Africa. He's going to be a speaker at Africa conference.
Africa Bitcoin conference, in December.
Yeah, so like he said, we're big into the global south. We see these emerging markets as really key and where we expect to see the most growth.
and also I think there's a big piece of, when Jose first hired me, it was like I was in charge of North America, and we quickly discovered that regulation and companies in North America weren't there. Then they were, we're not looking at crypto. I'm like, I'm over here waving, well, it's not crypto, it's Bitcoin. And they're going, well, it's the same thing to us. And so it was a market that was just, we're kind of kicked down doors, and people keep slamming them in our face.
So first changing the narrative.
So there was that, and then moving away from, some Bitcoiners might not like this, but this heavy Bitcoin narrative and Bitcoin in your face. We're not really doing that. We're talking about a new financial settlement layer, global financial settlement. And that's really where we stop. And yes, Bitcoin technology is being used.
Exactly. Yeah. It's another narrative that explains it better. Yeah. So you changed the story for that market. And not so long ago, you were talking about example of Spotify transitioning to pay-as-you-go model. That it was intriguing. Have you seen more traditional companies nowadays expressing interest in such payment models with the help of Lightning?
Yeah. Like we mentioned, we are seeing the customer profile change a little bit, and now where, let's say, a year and a half ago, we were basically only getting receptive feedback from, let's say, exchanges and wallets, other crypto companies. Now we're getting a lot of interest and people reaching out to us from more traditional fintech players. So I'm going to say some names that I know I can't get in trouble with because they have not reached...
But we want the other ones too. We want the other ones too.
No, they have not reached out to us, so I can say them. But let's say customers like Pfizer, customers that do settlement, so that do payments as well. And I think Ry can speak a little bit more.
Are they talking to you because they have the very little interest, or are they also planning to integrate the service into their services?
I would say to start, there's a lot of NDAs floating around in the Lightning space right now amongst us and our friends in the space. I would say that for all those that we're in this kind of bearish period, for me, I feel very optimistic and bullish based off of these traditional companies that are coming to us. And it's not that they are, maybe it's they want to explore point of concepts, develop them out, and so they're in this exploratory phase.
They already have a plan.
They already have a plan, and now it's a lot of them have said we've studied all these different DeFi protocols, etc., and we've chosen Lightning. So they've already done their own research and they've looked at it in a broad way, and now they're coming back and they're saying no, Lightning's it. So it's actually very, even though we see where they're probably, and everybody's like, oh, we're just kind of trickling along here. It's on the backside, people are building, and we're building cool stuff.
Cool. And now Jose is going to name one of them. No.
Okay, come on.
And you also mentioned that the Lightning ecosystem is reaching a point of maturation. In your opinion, what were the major milestones or indicators that showcase this maturation process?
Well, first of all, just the narrative that's being switched around in the Lightning space. Second is, I believe, I call it like the professionalization of the space. And we're starting to see like more professional-focused players entering.
Yeah.
So, you had the original companies that started off that were just like the gung-ho, die-hard Bitcoiners, freedom. But now you're starting to see all of these microservices companies that are being run by very much business-oriented people that are looking at the value proposition of Lightning and saying, this makes sense.
Yeah.
Because it really does. I like to say, Lightning is so much better as a settlement technology. It's not 10 times better. It's 100 times better.
Compared to the traditional.
Yeah. Look, as I mentioned on stage, the traditional financial settlement is it's 150 plus years old?
Yeah.
It was started by Western Union in 1872. So
it's crazy. Where's the innovation?
Yeah, some things didn't change. So that's right. You have a point there.
Yeah, and now what we have is this really cool technology that does fundamentally change stuff because here's the important part. It's all about time to settlement. So let's say you go and you pay out with a credit card, right? And for you, it's instant, quote unquote. But by the time it gets to the merchant, it takes a couple of days.
Yeah.
But here's the kicker. How that money gets settled on the back end. So how the banks settle in between themselves. That takes a couple of extra days even beyond that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And that introduces a lot of friction and a lot of risk.
Yeah.
And it's because it's all of these separate databases talking to each other, and nothing has really changed. And what changes with Bitcoin and Lightning is that we have the first ever global instant settlement layer.
Yeah.
And where you can actually have that immediacy.
Yeah.
And that makes things ridiculously more efficient.
And from a merchant's perspective, I also know that because the customer can get his money back, but it also costs you a percentage. And it takes long. So those are three things only for receiving a payment. And you already gave your effort, your service or your product. So that's difficult.
Just another piece that Jose says it all the time, and it's great that we have this option for merchants, but it's not about another way to pay with coffee, which is like the classic line. And it's the cool things that we can now do to play with value. And not play with it, but split up value, split payments, streaming money. When you think of the consequences of the supply chain, when you start to do drip payments, and if that is adopted, I mean, it's the amount of money that is now being transferred, those micro payments and just being streamed within, the possibilities are endless. We're actually opening, I think, like a new era of payments and finance with this tech there's stuff that we haven't even thought of yet. And that's a cool
But
thought.
the cool thing is there's no limit or there's no minimum. I mean, you can stream payments like as low as 1 set, and you can settle big payments all on the same network, right? It's all the same network basically.
And the payments nowadays representing an enormous amount, of course, if you do payments. And given that vast scale, how does Lightning Network plan to scale accordingly, do you think? And how is IBEX positioned in this landscape? Is it possible now?
No, right now we can't move. So to give everybody an idea, the global payments market is around $2 trillion in revenue.
Yeah.
But that's revenue. The value that gets transacted is about $2 trillion daily. And I think right now Lightning has about a couple $100 billion in worth.
So in liquidity.
Yeah, in liquidity.
Saying,
So we need to scale a lot more. But I think we're going to get there. I think it's good that we're going a little bit slower also because it allows us to test out stuff in a low impact environment because
that's perfect for experimenting.
So, but I think this is going to turn around quick. Once these companies that we're talking to start to come on board, whether it's with us or with some of our other friends in the industry, this is happening. Like, it's not like an option. This is happening, guys. And when this starts to come online, it's going to move quick, I think. And not only is it going to move quick, our expectation is that we're one of the top players in the space.
And to wrap things up, we already talked about the interest in Lightning among big enterprises. And what are you guys? What are your plans for the future to cater to grow to this growing market? What's up next?
Well, honestly, just continuing to build, which is kind of why for us, bear markets, we treat them a little bit different. It's our build market.
It is. Yeah. Now is the time.
You don't get distracted, right? By all the memes and all the stuff.
Yeah, listening to customer feedback, making sure that we have the best APIs in the industry, and making sure that we're providing the best product, which is great for bear market times, and just continuing to evolve. And for adoption, we need both sides of the coin. We need people spending, but we also need the infrastructure. And there's enough people working on both sides of it. You guys are on the education piece, and I think as this community really grows and comes together, it will be able to, that next event, that next macro event will be a big one for everybody.
Talking about spending, by the way, I know most of the viewers and listeners to our podcast know that you guys are providing the service here to receive payments for the conference. It is flawless again. It was flawless last year, and it's flawless again. I mean, I tried using my own node. I tried using a custodial wallet, and I tried using an NFC card, and it all just works. It works so perfectly. Last year, you guys, what was the total amount of Bitcoin you guys?
I think it was around 1.8.
Are we going? Are we going to
top it up?
Well, I've been walking around and talking to the vendors. They're also people are spending. So hopefully, we
so let's maybe go for 2.5 Bitcoin this year.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's go.
And I want to make one more point of mention for all your listeners, and it's something that I think. It's something that we deal with internally, but at IBEX, our marketing and educational product is the payments product. We're in 40 countries. It's a free product to sign up for. Anyone with an internet connection can download it and start accepting Bitcoin payments. Super simple to use. But the other 95% of what we do is this infrastructure stuff that we're talking about.
Yeah.
But because the front end facing piece of IBEX Pay kind of makes up all the airwaves, a lot of people think, oh, there are payments coming. It's not the case. It's actually the opposite. We're infrastructure first, payments second. We just happen to have a kick-ass payments product.
I mean, in my opinion, you guys just nailed it. It's so flawlessly. So thank you guys for that. It's very important because if the experience sucks, people aren't going to use it, right? So it's so important. So thanks for that. And thanks for the talk.
Yeah, thanks for the talk.
Thank you guys.
And if people want to know more about Baz, where can they go?
Well, they can go to, I believe it's at Baz app on social media.
Okay. Yeah.
They can also follow us at Powered by IBEX.
Powered by IBEX
on Twitter. And they can find all about us and our projects there.
And if they Google Baz app IBEX in about a month, there should be some actual, where like he said, we're in that beta phase yet, so we've done no marketing. But give it a month and I'm sure we'll be in the airwaves.
Thanks again, and enjoy Amsterdam, and we'll
keep
meet
in touch,
again.
guys.
Guys,
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.